moment I started streaming, right? My family instantly needed me. So I had to go all the way downstairs and shit and go take care of that. Also, what is up, guys? Hello, Zelia. Hello, Nina. Hello, Maki. What's going on? We're gonna start the stream off a little bit different today. Last night I wanted to make a tier list video, but then I was like, you know what? I'm a little tired, and also one of my friends, she hasn't streamed in a while, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch her stream for a bit. Um, so I thought it'd be more fun to do it just live. So we're gonna try to do a live stream talking about my tier list and where I rank some of these characters at. And then I'll just export the video from the live to YouTube, right? So I thought that'd be kind of cool. The way I'm going to grade all of my characters, because I think that's the most important, is to list why I'm rating characters the way they are. I'm gonna rate them based on the value they bring to your account and whether or not they can clear all content comfortably. Um, and Also like user friendliness, like from a free to play standard perspective. Like I also want to talk about that too. Um, I think it's kind of more fair because I think more players are I think it's easier to say there's more casuals in gacha games than tryhards who like to concerto swap a lot, or not concerto swap but quick swap a lot. I mean, if it's a freebie character, they get a different good rating. Something like that. Yeah, yeah. Because Verena's. Hello. Real quick. I want to apologize for how long this video actually is. This video is going to be insanely long, as this was taken straight from my live stream on Twitch that I was doing. I didn't realize how long I was talking about the tier list video. I just was going in depth for every single character. Um, and giving my opinion while also reading chat. So I apologize for how long the video is going to be, and I would recommend just skipping to the end just to see where some characters are, and then if you are questioning the stance on everything, then just go back. So just watch a little bit of the beginning to understand how the grading is working, and then after that, just if you are someone who's crazy and patient, I don't blame you if you decide to skip to like the very end. But if you have any questions as well, you can also state that in the comment section. Uh, Many of you are going to be extremely new to my channel as I haven't really been posting on YouTube. I don't really have a passion for like a lot of the games as of late, but I'm trying to get into the gacha game space because I actually really like gacha games. I played Genshin a long time ago, but I never made YouTube content for. I just live streamed it. But now I do want to start doing Wuthering Waves content. I've been playing Wuthering Waves since day one. I'm not going to stay here and hog up too much of your time, but just know in the future I do plan on uploading some MUBA content for you. I got another video in the works that I actually really want to go into depth on. So stay tuned for that. If you like the content, please leave a like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. Or you can find me over on Twitch where I play a lot of WoWa and just any other game that's catching my attention at the time. But I mainly play WoWa daily though, just do my dailies because I love Kuro. So, but thank you. To the video. But I think it's more fair because so far all the other tier list videos I've seen people rank, they usually rank these characters off of like Whimpering Waste, and I think Whimpering Waste is actually kind of silly, right? I don't know why people keep ranking characters off Whimpering Waste when Whimpering Waste makes some characters seem like they're way too broken, and it's like realistically in the rest of the content that majority of the players are going to be playing, like those characters are nowhere near as strong and are not going to do those numbers. That's like me rating characters based off like the 1,000 gateway, and 1,000 gateway, like, allowing a character to hit like 60 million damage when in reality I'm not going to hit 60 million damage inside like, holograms, the actual end game. My end game rating will be based off of holograms, how effective they are in holograms, as well as obviously ToA, because I think most people probably want to just do ToA and they're good on that. Um, and Yeah, because Whimpering Waste, in my opinion, is hella easy. I don't know why people keep rating Whimpering Waste. But we'll probably just start with the actual list here of characters. I think D tier is probably just gonna be either back of the bus, not in, either. I say D tier is probably gonna be. I wouldn't say like they're horrible because I really don't think most of these characters are horrible. Actually, I should make another tier list. I think there's one character that I think there's two characters actually I would say are pretty bad. Um, yeah, I think yeah, we're gonna say this tier list down here that says new. Hold on, let me go here real quick. I think I want to rename this. Yeah. Um Poopy. The poopy tier. All right. We got a poopy tier now. Okay, poopy tier is actually bad. Well, we gotta put this letter back. There we go. Make it capital so people don't get mad about that. Boom. The poopy tier. I can actually change the color to brown. Is there a brown? Oh God, that looks terrible. Uh, all right, that's the closest we're gonna get the poop. Um, wow. Okay, we just have regular Rover here. So we got like Rover, and then we got Spectrum, and we got Havoc and Arrow. So we're just gonna, I guess, in my opinion, Rover as a whole unit, I would probably say is about. Granted, they're on your account, right? I'd put Rover. Honestly, I'll say B tier. I think B tier is fine for Rover as a whole. That goes to like all the different variations of Rover, really. And the only reason I'm gonna throw Rover in B tier is only because of the fact that Rover is one of those units that like, assuming you don't have any other limited 5-star unit to actually work as like to get like another unit running, Rover's gonna be that replacement slot, and you're gonna do everything comfortably fine with Rover. But if you do have like a team's best in slot, you're most likely not gonna use Rover. Like, let's just be honest here. Like realistically, Rovers like they're good, but they're not like, you know, industry standard. You know what I'm saying? Like they're good, they're functional, they work great. People who have built them, they can clear content fine, and if you do decide to spend time with them, you can definitely do that comfortably. But it's just, if you do get another limited 5-star unit, you don't really care for Rover. So I think that's why I'm gonna throw Rover in the B tier. It's not because they're bad, and it's not because they're excellent. It's just, you know, they're functional. Varina, going back to the whole limited time thing, yeah, Varina definitely gets a bump on my list. I'm definitely gonna put Varina up in a bulletproof tier list. Bulletproof, I think if you get Varina on your account is stacked and solid. If you're a new player, because you can choose a free copy, Varina is definitely gonna be great. She's one of the best healers in the game, as well as the best buffers in the game. In period. Can't go wrong with Varina on your account at all. In fact, I would always recommend someone gets a Varina. Like majority, I'll say at least like 8 times out of 10, depending on how early or stacked your account is, she's probably going to be, no, I'll probably say 7 times out of 10 to be more accurate. 7 times out of 10 now, because the game's been out for like a year and some change. So we'll say 7 times out of 10, most people are going to have Farina as their second healer or their main healer, right? And then it'll be like probably like a Baiji, or if you're lucky, a Shorekeeper. Um, and that's going to be the reality of things, right? So Marina definitely bulletproof. It doesn't matter. She works great with any team comp, whether it be new teams, old teams. She's just a bulletproof unit. You can never go wrong with having her on your team. Um, so we're gonna throw her up here, and bulletproof. Encore, I'm I'm not gonna throw Encore and poopy because I don't think Encore is poopy. I do think Encore is good. I think Encore falls in the B tier. I think Encore is another situation like Rover, right? If you have cons in some teams, then some people might argue maybe A for some content, like doing ToA and stuff like that, as well as holograms, which I think is the real in the game versus Whimpering Waves. Um, I would say she's probably around B to A. She does do a decent amount of single target damage, and thankfully there's enough buffers in the game now to really help her out. Whether you're pairing her with Reno, whether you're pairing her with Shorekeeper, whether you're pairing her with Lupa, like um, you have options. Basic attack, damage dealer, Sanawa, all that stuff. You can definitely amplify Encore quite a bit to make Encore functional and up and running. And then again, because she is a standard unit, you could get cons for her. So that also makes her a little bit more comfortable for other people who've lost their 50/50s a couple of times. You might have cons for Encore, and if you do, then you might be like, okay, Encore is actually kind of cracked, right? So I'm just gonna throw her in B tier. I don't really see Encore as much. She kind of isn't as important anymore as she used to be back in the day when the game first came out. Go figure. But if you still play with Encore, I don't think you're really like, oh my god, I'm suffering, right? Like you can still make Encore work. Um, and I think that's a good thing. Like Encore isn't horrible. Calcharo. Calcharo, in my opinion, I almost have an S5. No, sorry, I have an S5 Calcharo. I almost have an S6 Calcharo, but I still don't have this man built. Calcharo's really cool in my opinion, but I do think his kit's kind of clunky. And from a casual standpoint, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't think a casual player is gonna actually enjoy Calcharo, right? I'm gonna throw Calcharo in the C tier list. I think Calcharo can get um some of your content done, but like realistically, even when he's like jacked up and like you got like the best buffers on your team, even when I was playing on some other people's account trying to clear their content for them, it was kind of like I was pushing time limit and it was really hard because there's a lot of animation cancels you got to do, which makes them feel kind of annoying. Um, he can also kind of get interrupted quite a bit, so that's also not as fun. And I don't know, it's just really easy to miss out on damage with Calcharo. And then the damage that he does do doesn't feel as great anymore, unless you have some insane buffer on your team, right? Like, um, I saw like an S2 shorekeeper buff the shit out of Calcharo, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of crazy, right? But I didn't realize the person was an S2 shorekeeper. Then lo and behold, when they finally showcased, I'm like, okay, that makes sense why your Calcharo was actually doing some damage. And even then, it wasn't anything crazy impressive, right? With an S2 shorekeeper, mind you. So, I don't know. I think Calcharo is gonna sit around the C rank for me. I think he'll help you get like mid tier, but like in a modern day in game, I think Calcharo kind of is like I won't say he completely fell off. You're just gonna have an insanely rough time with him. Like you have to play flawlessly, and I just don't see the most players playing like that. I really don't. So we're gonna leave him in C tier, possibly D tier, but we'll say C tier, right? Because he is fun. I think he's cool, but he just whatever. Jian Jin. Jian Jin's one of my favorite characters. I think she's a good unit, but I don't think she's anything super crazy cracked. This is also like Copium as well for most people who are playing Jian Jin. You just have other support options out there. Now, she might actually improve later on. My issue with Jian Jin is how long it takes for her to actually activate her shield because during her whole charge up time, she's still taking damage. So it's not like she's immune to damage while generating a shield the whole time. So if you don't have her really built up, you're gonna not really get that shield off. Um, Sometimes, or by the time you do get the shield off, it's already kind of weak, and she's not doing a crazy tons amounts of damage to really compensate how much field time she's hogging up, right, from your hyper carry. So I I'm gonna throw her in C tier for that very reason. You can make her work, kind of, but again, on a time crunch and everything like that, it's really annoying trying to play Jian Jin, and she requires a lot of investment, in my opinion, in order to make her feel in a decent state. Like you can throw her on Moonlit Clouds, you can throw her on Rejuvenating Glow. I don't recommend the Rejuvenating Glow because her heals aren't like that crazy and they're really slow, so you probably won't really get the buff as often. I just say throw a Moonlit Cloud set and then call it a day with Jian Jin. Um, and yeah, you'll probably do all right with her, but um, I think C tier is fine for Jian Jin. Honestly, I think she's she's alright, right? Like she's not anything crazy. She's not gonna help you do every little thing. But she will definitely she can substitute some things. Like if you're really desperate, she can substitute. Leon Yang poopy. Leon Yang is poopy. He gets interrupted too much. His damage is way too low. He's a 5-star unit, and even his cons kind of suck, man. Like they really need to buff this unit. He's it's really sad because he's really cool. He's a cool character, but yeah, no, you're gonna really struggle with Lee, this kid. You're just gonna struggle. Just he's poopy. That's all I can tell you, right? Screw him. Don't really. You're like hard coping if you think you can. This character's good, right? I'm gonna be honest. This is a hard cope. He's definitely poop, unfortunately. Xion is great. I think Xion falls in the A rank tier. S tier, by the way, S tier I think are this is essentially like god tier characters, god tier units. Like these units, hands down, without a doubt, no question in mind, no one can argue. You can probably most likely just solo with the unit and do fine, right? Gion, in my opinion, is A tier. He can clear all content perfectly fine. Let me throw that out there. He can still clear content perfectly fine. He just, depending on your build and your team count, your team setup and the account that you have, you might end up falling, like pushing crunch time just a little bit, right? If you have everything necessary for Gion, like you have a signature weapon, right? You have a Mortifi and everything like that. You can get by with like a Verena. You don't need a short keep or anything like that, and you'll be fine. You don't need any cons for him either. You'll be fine in that case, right? But if you don't have, like, I would say he'll probably be like almost S rank. But if you don't have those units and stuff like that, and his stats are like kind of on there, you'll be able to probably push through the content a little bit, but you'll come to a point where you'll be like, oh my god, I really need to maximize everything. Like if you're not maximizing his damage, I would say you're gonna really struggle on time clears. And I think that's why for me, Gion's gonna be an A tier character. Because the content's now just starting to, it's a little bit outscaling him a little bit, right? Not significantly too much, but just a little bit to where you can clear, but it might not feel comfortable all the time. Yinlin. Yinlin for me is B tier unit. And I hate saying that so much because Yinlin is one of my favorite characters inside the game. But my issue with Yinlin is, unfortunately, my voice is cracking. I apologize. Unfortunately for Yinlin, there's just too many people with best in slot teams that she doesn't really fit anywhere comfortably. She does do a decent amount of damage. I don't know why people keep saying she doesn't do that much damage. She does a lot of damage. My Yinlin Elise does a lot of damage. I think she's really great. But I have every unit in the game, and unfortunately, because I do have every unit, well, unfortunately, like, because I have every unit in the game, I can operate with best in slot teams and teams that actually synergize pretty well. I was using her for the longest time with Jinshi until I got Jeja, and yeah, Jeja just works great because of the resonant skill damage buff that she gives to Jinshi, as well as the coordinated attack. And Jeja also does a lot of damage too. So with that being said, it was just kind of like I no longer needed a purpose for Yinlin. I didn't have a good electro unit. Um, I threw it with Augusta for a little bit just for the electro damage bonus, but that didn't even matter either because I got Augusta and I also, or sorry, I got a Frolova and I got Mortifi, and I prefer Augusta. Mortifi is just if I want to play hyper carry. Frolova's more if I just want to play melt and have like crazy fun. So that's it. But yeah, Yinlin is just one of those units where if you have her on your account, I don't think your account's bricked or anything like that. She still is a good sub DPS. She just doesn't have a lot of teams, and she isn't gonna like obviously solo the other enemies and stuff like that. But she's good for like any other content, whether it be Whimpering Waves, obviously that people keep talking about. Um, Even open world farming for a little bit, I use Yinlin to open world farm for a while because her AOE is really nice. And she does do a decent amount of damage. Yeah, yeah. You usually see Yinlin around A to S tier on most tier lists, even on Pridwin. Yeah, and because they're also grading her, because so most of the tier list videos out there are grading them on Whimpering Waves, and she's really good in Whimpering Waves, right? So if I was rating her strictly on Whimpering Waves, she'll definitely be higher. She would definitely be higher in my opinion. But like Whimpering Waste is such a like a niche game mode to like really rate these characters off of because at least in my opinion. Because in Whimpering Waste, you get all these crazy buffs that make characters seem way stronger than ever before. And when people keep talking about AoE, it's like most of these units have AoE anyways, and if you have them really built like strong, I clear without needing traction, right? So, but Yinlin is definitely one of the top Whimpering Waste units because of the fact that she has a massive AoE and she's a good damage dealer, so she instant clears. And then you pair her with things like the electric buff sets and all that stuff like that. Yinlin will definitely just like blow up that whole entire content. So that's why if I was going off of Whimpering Waste, I would definitely put her higher. In my opinion, because I'm strictly biased, I would say S the bulletproof if I was going off of a Whimpering Waste build, right? But I'm going off of just like general content. So I'm throwing Yinlin in like B tier. That's where I'm throwing her at. That's where my rating comes from. Jinshi, I love Jinshi. She's one of my favorite units. But the issue with Jinshi is like if you are a new player and you just started playing today, like say Jinshi got a rerun today and you just started playing, right? You'll have an issue with Jinshi because Jinshi needs a good coordinated attacker. And I'm throwing A tier though, but I don't want to throw her in bulletproof or S tier. She would be S tier if you have everything you need on your account, in my opinion. Jinshi clears content beautifully, perfectly fine, no matter what it is. It's just I'm gonna throw in A tier because of the fact that in order for Jinshi to work, you got to build her forte, and her forte is the incandescent stacks. And in order to get incandescent stacks, right? If you don't have cons at least, you have to do coordinated attacks. And if you don't have anyone, like you don't have a Yinlin, you don't have a Zheja, um, you're only left with like Yan Wu, realistically. And with Yuan Wu, it's like he doesn't buff Jinshi in any meaningful way to where she'll do even more damage to help out with some of the content. And his coordinated attacks and damage is just so low that it's really hard for Jinshi to really like carry the team by herself sometimes. Like she can, but it's just gonna be not as comfortable as you would probably want it to be. And that also requires you to build a character that's kind of, let's face it, kind of ass, right? Like if I was gonna grab him, I'm throwing him straight in the poopy tier. So I'm gonna throw Jinshi in A tier. But if you have everything for Jinshi, like her weapon, her signature weapon, you have even like a Zheja, hell, a fucking throwing Cancerella in there if you want to. Um, any of these coordinated attackers right here, that's like a 5-star unit kind of thing. Then yeah, I would say she's up in S tier. She's pretty solid. You can get by with her perfectly fine, respectfully within her content. She's really strong to this day, and I love that about Jinshi. Um, so she's definitely one of my favorites. I'm gonna throw her in A tier just again on the safe side for people who, if you got her today on your account and you're brand new, you kind of like until you get him kind of build, and it's gonna feel like a rocky slope for a little while, right? That's all I'm saying, at least in my opinion. Uh, Chang Li, I'm biased. I'm hella biased, bro. You got people saying Chang Li's S tier because again they're gonna rate Chang Li off of freaking Whimpering Waves. For me personally, I had this girl benched for so long, bro, because it was just like I'm not gonna say she's poopy. No, that's just me just being a hater, right? I had her benched for so long, primarily because of the fact that like I had no teams that she really synergized well with for the longest time. There was just no team for her. And I hated her play style, so it was more of like a skill issue, and it just became like one of those things where I was like, her damage is kind of mid. I can get all of her damage rotations off with another unit. But I think now that I have a full better understanding of Cheng Li, I do have stronger teams, and I actually finally unbenched her and I started using her more. Um, I think Cheng Li is. I think she's safe to say around like I kind of want to say B tier, to be honest, for all content, because like open world farming, no, definitely better open world farmers. Boss battling though, for boss fights, A tier, but because it's a general list, I'm gonna throw her in B tier. I don't think most people are gonna care for Chang Li unless it's in those specific niche game modes, which is gonna be like Whimpering Waste, and stuff like that. And in ToA, obviously ToA is great, and she's really good in holograms, in my opinion. You can definitely get by on holograms with her because she just does a lot of damage, and thankfully her skills are really good at interrupting enemies, like parrying them. So yeah, she's phenomenal in that sense. So, but I changed my mind. Instead of B tier, I'll say A tier because again, holograms and ToA is really important, right? And then if you do decide to do Whimpering Waste, that's like majority of the end game that you want to do. As far as open world farming and stuff like that go, who cares? So I'll say she's A tier. I'll definitely say A tier. I changed my mind. She's not B. A tier. Um, damn, I gotta go back and relook at Yinlin and too for that same reason. I'm changing my own grades here. Now I'm gonna leave Yinlin in B. I'm gonna leave her in B. Just because I really don't see a lot of people wanting to. I changed my mind. Literally read what I said. Well, yeah, like yeah, the tower 100% tower and holograms are definitely solid. It's really important because that's the main thing I'm trying to grade them off of, not their farming potential. But use case scenario with Yinlin too. Another thing about Yinlin that I kind of want to change my whole opinion on Yinlin as well and throw my Yinlin back up here is the fact that her weapon. Like if Yinlin was on banner right now, people would definitely pull on that banner because she has one of the best universal weapons in the game when it comes to what is it called? Rectifiers. So I changed my mind on Yinlin. I think it's just yeah, no, I gotta put Yinlin A. I'm I'm not trying to think off a Whimpering Waves standard, but I think Yinlin's definitely A tier. Because again, like I think Yinlin has good damage, which I stated. Um, I don't really care too much for Whimpering Waves. I think Whimpering Waves is way too easy, regardless. But she definitely thrives in there. In terms of like team building, though, I think that's where Yinlin kind of like falls down. But hey, like who cares, man? If you can make Cheng Li work, you can make Yinlin work. The only thing I will say about Yinlin though, from a casual standard, and again, like this might fluctuate depending on who you ask, is her play style, right? Because Yinlin can also get interrupted out of a lot of her attacks, and trying to quickly like cancel out some of her abilities. Some people might not like that, right? To be able to get her full rotation off to build her concerto. So depending on where you are as a player, I'll let you guys debate that whether you want to put her in B. But I do also kind of agree with the A tier just because again her weapon is solid. Her weapon's one of the best weapons in the game. I think her damage is really good, and at the same time she's not like she can do all the essentially all the content. It's just her only downside is she just doesn't have a lot of teams she really want to synergize with. But hey, if you just need like a backup damage dealer, she's a good backup damage dealer, in my opinion. So I'll throw her up here in like A tier. B tier depending on skill level. We'll say that. B tier skill level, A tier if you are decent at the game and you got everything going for yourself. B tier if you're like you're still learning, right? I think that's safer. Gaming also has her about SS for Whimpering, S for ToA, and AS for everything else. Yeah, that's them. I think it's safe to say she's up here though. I really do. I think she can sit in the A tier though. Jing Liao, I don't really care for Jing Liao at all, bro. But I think Jing Liao's still good. I think if we're talking tower, hologram, and all that stuff like that, Jing Liao's still even A because he works great with Yinlin. Um, I'll leave him up there. He's kind of a slept on. I don't care for him personally, but dude is pretty slept on. And we got him for free back in the day. I don't know if Kuro's ever gonna give us another free copy of Jing Liao again for another lantern, right? They probably won't, but they do. Copium, and you know what? Gotta throw him up there. But at the same time, his weapon is also one of the best weapons in the game when it comes to gauntlets. He has one of the best universal gauntlets in the game. So you can't go wrong if you ever see Jing Liao on banner to pull him for your account. He's a solid electro DPS. Um, he's solid. He's pretty solid. He's definitely the upgraded Cal Charo that people wanted. Um, and yeah, he could just clear. He's really good at doing ToA and doing holograms. I'm not gonna throw him an S tier though. I definitely think he stays in the A tier. Jeja for me is a character I am going to have to throw up, and believe it or not, I'm putting her S tier. I'm throwing Jeja in S tier. Because one, Jeja has a lot of damage on her. Two, she really buffs Jinshi. She's great for Carlotta. She is great in Whimpering Waste. She's great in ToA. She's great in Open World. She's great for everything. Like you can't necessarily go wrong with a Jeja. Like Jeja is just solid, and because of the fact she works on like what she works on like three different echo sets. She works on Moonlit Clouds. She works on Amperine, and she works on just a regular like Glacio set if you want to just buff yourself, right? So you could leave her on here if you really wanted to, and she'll thrive. So I think she's super easy to build, right? Really easy to build. She's good to buff with other characters. She's flexible in like pretty much all of the content, and she's a coordinated attacker, so she can fit on most teams, even if she's not like fully buffing that unit. She kind of gets like that Yinlin treatment, but to another level because she works well with other units. So I'll throw up here in the like S tier. That's just my opinion. Um, her weapon is kind of, I don't know. I gotta look at her weapon. I think her weapon is a little bit more on a niche side, but who cares? Either way, she's great. She does so much for the other units, and with more relationship units possibly coming out in the future, she's just gonna be even better. Better. Anyways, moving on. Shorekeeper, bulletproof. This go figure. Like if you see Shorekeeper, pull for her. I think she's solid. Definitely deserves to be on your account. She actually helped alleviate the back pains that Rena had for so long. And I think Shorekeeper is now holding most of the back pain now, because of the fact that crit rate, crit damage, and attack percent increase is insane. Assuming that you have a weapon, right? If you have a weapon, you increase your teammates' attacks and stuff like that, and it's just she's insane, right? And then if you do have cons, which I think it's fair to say, with how often she has got a rerun, some people might have cons even if they are free to play. Like it's not unrealistic for a free to play player to have cons, right? So if you do magically have cons for Shorekeeper, she's hands down one of like she's not one of the best. She is the best in the game when it comes to support capabilities. One, constant healing. Two, constant damage amplification. Three, uh, freaking that damage amp on her con is just insane. Like it's just insane if you have her S2. So if you are someone who's lucky and blessed to have like an S2 Shorekeeper, whether you got lucky with a 10 pull, maybe you kept pulling every banner because you knew how much you really wanted it, and stuff like that. Like this character is just bulletproof. Even if you don't have cons, bulletproof still nonetheless. She will always be like, if not the team's best in slot, right? Like with the newer teams coming out, she will still be a strong best in slot character, like the next best in slot, if that makes sense. She's so universal and it's amazing. Like I love it. So Shorekeeper definitely goes here. Bulletproof. Camellia, I love Camellia. S tier. S tier. Camellia is great. Solid damage dealer, good AoE, and yeah, big freaking nukes. Can clear ToA effortlessly, can do your Whimpering Waves effortlessly, can do pretty much anything you want her to do inside the game effortlessly. The only thing about her playstyle is just the fact that you just have to know how to dodge, but we're gonna assume everyone knows how to dodge. At least the most basic level, you know how to dodge because you can't move when you're inside her vine state. But other than that, she's amazing, and her sword is still pretty good to grab. But she's cracked. You can do everything with her perfectly fine. Um, I won't say bulletproof just because, uh, well, you never know. Like later on, she could probably get outscaled, but right now she's so strong that I see her thriving. But I'm gonna leave her in S tier. I'm gonna leave her in S tier. Fuck, dude, I'm so biased towards Camellia that I want to put her in bulletproof, but then I feel like that's kind of like that's me being biased. I'm gonna be realistic. I see some people struggling with Camellia. Because I see people struggling with Camellia, I'm gonna say S tier. I'm just gonna calm down and just say S tier. She's bulletproof on my account. That's all I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say S tier. But just to be fair, Carlotta. Oh, it's so hard, man. All right, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of characters in bulletproof. I think we might have to make another tier. I think I might have to make like an S plus tier, just underneath a bulletproof, right? Just underneath bulletproof because they're like this character's so strong, so good. They might run the mile, but you never know. We might get HP inflated at some point in time, right? And this character might fall off. But Kurogames has been doing a good job of balancing the game, so it's like I don't see it happening, but I just gotta keep that in mind, right? I just gotta keep that in mind. It could always potentially happen. And that's so hard because, like, I think Carlotta is crazy cracked. Like, if you get Carlotta on your account, you're not going to be mad that she's on your account. Carlotta is great in every single category in the game when it comes to killing. Even when people says like she doesn't have like crazy AoE, she just does so much. Like I never had an issue killing mobs together, right? Like at all. Her final shot on her ultimate just pretty much wipes out like everything in front of me, similar to like Cardathea. And then her heavy attack that she gets, her enhanced heavy, like that one does a good job at clearing out a decent amount of waves too, or mobs that are grouped up next to each other. Her E, when I skill over enemies, it hits more than just one target. At least for me, I don't know. I don't have her any cons on my Carlotta, but I do hit more than one target with her E skill. So I don't think it's the craziest AoE in the world, but I still think it's good enough for the actual content that's inside the game, whether it be overworld, whether it be Whimpering Waves, whether it be whatever the case may be. I think she's passable in that category. But damage-wise, she excels. She has a lot of damage, and I think that's the most important thing, as well as her iframes. She gets a lot of invincibility frames when she's doing her skills, and unlike like most unit, she is guaranteed all of her damage. That is something that just makes her like above the rest. It's really easy to get all of your damage in with Carlotta, whereas like some of these other characters, like Camellia, for instance, you can miss out on damage, right? And then, mess up your whole rotation. But like Carlotta, you just don't miss. She has automatic aimbot. It's like she plugs in the Zim Apex, the Cronus, or whatever like that, crank that aim assist to like 1,000 and just rocks your world. So she's great. Roshia, I'm I don't care what anyone says, bro. If people keep saying Roshia is this, Roshia is that, Roshia is God tier because Whimpering Waves, I think she's useless. I have her on my account. I think she's useless. I don't care, bro. I still use Sanwa over. If you have Roshia on your account, it's like whatever. Like, yeah, you can listen to everyone else's opinion on her and say like she's up here, but I really just don't find a purpose for her, like at all, bro. When it comes to like, again, the whole argument of her being able to pull enemies together and stuff like that, it's like majority of these characters have so much AoE built in, they instantly kill everything anyways. Why are you bullying Roshia? No, I hate Roshia, Mimikyu. I hate her so much. Like, well, let me cap. Let me stop capping. I don't hate Roshia. I used to hate Roshia. I got Roshia built, but now the issue I have with Roshia is that after I sat there and finally built Roshia, it's like every time I do any kind of content that requires AoE, everything dies before I can even get Roshia's rotation, right? And then group them up. And then if I do use my Roshia and she kills everything anyways, she kills it at a slower rate than what something else would have to group it up. Like they'll die inside her grouping, but it was slower anyways, right? And I have to move around and like grab them all inside her tornado. And I just don't care for that. When I can literally just, for example, with Frolova, I can just pop an E skill, boom, things are dead. Pop her E skill again, boom, things are dead. Hit my Q into a basic attack, boom, things are dead. And it's like I could just like everything is just dead, right? So I don't have any reason for Roshia. Even when I play her on my other buddies' accounts that have like no cons on their characters, they're not that kind of stacked up or built. I never struggle with grouping on enemies inside this game. I just kill everything. So when I think of like buffing any kind of unit, I just run Sanwa. It's so much faster. If you're gonna be on my screen for like 2 seconds, I just switch off. She's better for the bust and attraction. Yeah, obviously Sanwa's quicker, but Roshia does more damage and amps Havoc peoples. She does amp Havoc people. And that's the thing. It just makes her so niche for the Havoc amp that it's like, eh. And then if I'm not using Frolova with like a full Havoc team anyways, because like Augusta Frolova team, I don't really care for Roshia. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone is just so strong that it's just I just look at Roshia and I'm like, okay, you still want me to do 3 bounces in order to get that buff. In order to get the buff to buff up my Havoc units. Why would I have to do that when I could just grab my S6 Sanwa, literally do a quick concerto and just be slightly under, just slightly shy of her buff, right? And have less time on like less field time and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like for me with Roshia, it's just I'm super biased towards her. I get it. I'm the odd one out. I will 100% accept it. People probably hate my answer on that one, especially whenever I upload this or whatever. But it's just for me, I can never ever find use for it. Even in today, I just never find any use for Roshia at all, period. Like I could play her on my account and just be like, for me personally, she fits nowhere. But I'm not gonna throw in D tier though. That's extreme hate. She's not actually sitting in D tier, I can promise you. I think she's in the B tier for me. She's in the same explanation as Rover and the others. Like I think her on your account, you're not gonna be mad about it. Like assume that you have her built and stuff like that. Like she is definitely gonna be a good substitute. You're still gonna find like you're gonna find a purpose for her if you need to, right? And you'll do find whatever purpose you're trying to achieve with her. But that's just my take. If you're like me and you don't really care too much for a kit, how long it takes to actually build this unit and everything like that, um, she's definitely not going to be up in A tier, but if or S tier. If that's for like Whimpering kids who wants to put her up there, I don't really care for that because everything dies in Whimpering Waves without Roshia being needed. Um, Especially with the buffs from like the Whimpering Waste and all that stuff like that. You put the right build on and Roshia just not necessary. Uh, Phoebe, I think the Phoebe hype died down now. I'll be honest. I want to throw Phoebe in A tier though. What's up, Treasure? I'm gonna throw Phoebe in A tier only because Phoebe can buff herself, right? Phoebe has, I think, in terms of kit designs, she's probably one of the most flexibles. You can play her as a main DPS or you can play her as a sub DPS or a support. And she excels in the support category for obviously characters like Zani. She does have AoE. She does have time stop, but she also just has pretty good single target damage in DPS mode, and she can apply her own buffs consistently. So I think A tier is fine. No, I'm not ordering them. What's up, Fiesta? How you doing, man? Check Discord DMs. All right, I'll check Discord DMs right after this. But no, it's not. This isn't like in category. Like I'm not saying Gion's ahead of Jinshi or anything like that. It's just they're in that bracket. Waifu tier list? Hell nah, bro. This man said waifu tier list. Guy's crazy, trying to get me locked up. I'm good, bro. But nah, this is just a tier list just talking about where I rank characters based off their overall performance in all four versions of content, especially the actual endgame, in my opinion, which I consider holograms and ToA. I don't like rating characters off Whimpering Waste. I think Whimpering Waste is a waste of time to rate characters off of because of how crazy cracked buffs are. It's like rating a character off of the 1,000 Gateway, right? Like it's so niche in that, oh yeah, my character in 1,000 Gateway can hit 60 million damage, but in reality, outside of 1,000 Gateway, I'm not ever gonna do those damage numbers. I'm not ever gonna hit or have those kind of buffs and performance that you see, like the attack speed increases and stuff like that, to where it's kind of like whatever. Like anyone can clear that content, even with like a low leveled character, you can clear that content. So that's my stance on Whimpering Waste. I hate grading things off Whimpering Waste. Would help if I looked at stream title. That's my bad. You're all good, man. Uh, yeah. After you do this tier list video, I plan on also getting S2 Shorekeeper. So after S2 Shorekeeper, I'm going to yeah, level her up and do some testing around there and just see how much of a difference she makes. Brant. I actually really like Brant. I think Brant's S tier. I think Brant is actually kind of goated. He's one of the best supports in the game. This dude does it all, man. He got damage. He got insane damage. He has the ability to shield. 1 second. Sorry, had a hiccup. Yeah, I'm actually gonna drop the money and get S2 Shorekeeper. But yeah, Brand's kind of cracked though. He got everything. He got damage. He got freaking shielding capabilities. He can heal. Like, what more do you want from this man, bro? Like, this dude is cracked. Honestly cracked. He's way too good. That's all I'm going to say about Brant. The only thing that sucks about Brant is how difficult it is to build him if you don't have his signature weapon. I do think you want his sake. And getting those energy regen requirements is kind of tough too, but hey, it's the amount of investment put into him is definitely worth it if you do decide to build him. Um, Honestly, should we put Brant in bulletproof tier? Because because the thing about Brant is like I don't think he's a crazy buffer, right? He doesn't really buff, but because of everything else inside his kit, and if you have his signature weapon, if you do put all that full investment into him, it's like you have another solid healer that can just work well with other teams. You think that's crazy to put him in bulletproof? What's in the deer stand? What's up, SCJ? I don't know. I'll let other people decide that. Like, I kind of want to say, like, a part of me is like, maybe you can argue bulletproof, but at the same time, maybe not, right? Maybe not. I think that's just the beauty of being a support, though. Like, an actual healer slash shielder. Like, I kind of want to say, like, he's up here. Doesn't necessarily make him god tier, right? It just makes him, like, if he's on your account, he's great on your account. And you can go to mile with him. He can be a good replacement for other characters or other units. But I don't know. I'm gonna put him in S tier just because I don't. I think depending on the person whose account you're on, you're probably gonna want a damage amp, and I don't think he's gonna give enough buffs. His damage is nice, but it also again requires too much of investment. So I'm gonna say S tier. I take it back. I don't think he's gonna be bulletproof for that very reason, right? Depending on the account, you're probably gonna be like, yeah, no, Brant's good. He can heal me, but he's not giving my hyper carry enough damage. Like he's gonna be the hyper carry, but he's also gonna want to be buffed in if that's the case. So this tier list is just a generic tier list. It's just about like I think if you had these characters, like where I would rate these characters on your account based on how well they can complete all of the content in the game, not just Whimpering Waves. So like ToA, holograms and stuff like that, open world exploration, farming stuff. Like if you had these units, even based off like without their best in slots too, I would probably throw them up here, right? I think that's kind of fair to say. So that's why Jinshi isn't like up here because like if you don't have her best in slots, I think she sits around an A. But if you have all of her best in slots, I said that I would probably put Jinshi up in S tier. But because of you know we're trying to be as generic as possible with this list, I want to rate characters in a more common situation. Poopy's an understatement for Ling Yang. An understatement. Dang it. Okay. Cantarella, though, I think Cantarella is pretty cracked too. She's kind of in a niche category, but my Cantarella does a lot of damage. Like I can hit like, I think my Jolt hits like 200k. If I crit though, if I crit, because my crit's only like 50%. I ain't gonna lie. So if I miss a crit, it's like it's not the worst. I'm still hitting like a decent amount, but I don't know. But she is a healer, so that kind of makes her really good. And then she's great on Havoc teams. Um, so I'm gonna throw an A tier. There's a lot of A tier characters. Holy! Shout out to Kurogames for making these characters stay like relevant inside the game. I think Cantrell is good though. She's kind of like Brant. She has a decent amount of damage in her kit. Um, she does do a good job at AoEing enemies if you are doing things like Whimpering Waves that people keep talking about. I think she's solid there too. Um, her heals are sensational, and her ultra buff for characters like Furlova is also great, and she works great with Jinshi. If you don't have a Jeja, so I think that's pretty fair ranking. Um, I won't throw her in S tier just because of her. I want to say she's crazy niche, but at this point we have more options than not, and I don't know. I'll let people decide if you want to put her S tier or not. I think it's safe to say she's around A. I think it's safe to say she's around A for sure. Zani, Oh, Zani's so good, bro. But the thing about Zani is that, like, you really need a Phoebes, bro. Like, her kit is so reliant on another unit, kind of like Jinshi, but worse. To where it's like, yeah, we have Spectral Rover, but like, that's so much for what little field time you're gonna have with this unit. And it just, you have to really build up like the other unit to make up for it too while they're applying all their frazzles so that she can actually try to pop off. But like, if you have, and on top of that, her weapon too. Like, if you don't have her weapon either, I feel like you're also gonna be kind of missing on damage. Like, if you don't have a Phoebe and not her weapon, oh my god. Not only is she a good sub DPS, he can be a great DPS himself. Bump Kanto to S. What about for Lova and Carlotta? I haven't got them. Dude, I'm still going. I'm just going in the order that the characters are listed here. You gotta bear with me, man. Zani's just, she's weird. Like, I'm biased. I want to make Zani S tier because Zani rips. Like, I completed all of my holograms with Zani. All of them. Every single one. So it's like, I want to put Zani S tier, but it's just, I'm not gonna lie, from a casual standard, from a casual player's perspective, right? Not talking about animation canceling, not doing any of that crazy shit, just straight up playing a game. You're brand new, you want to play, and just a basic understanding of how things work. I feel like most players aren't really going to really enjoy Zani as much, and I think also just the sheer amount of complaints we get as of right now is a reflection of that. So because of the reflection of how negative the community feedback was on Zani's performance when it came to not having a Phoebe and even being forced to use things like Spectral Rover and stuff like that, and some people not having her weapon, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna throw her in B tier. But in my personal opinion, in my eyes, I would probably throw her up in S tier if you have everything settled and you understand how to use Phoebe and you have Phoebe. Um, or if you're like crazy cracked at the game and you're really good at applying your Spectral Frazzles with Spectral Rover, then I'll still throw her in S tier, right? But just from a general consensus and what a new player might experience getting into the game and getting Zani, I think it's safe to say she'll be around a B tier. In terms of the content, you might struggle a lot with Zani, and it's gonna take a long time to where it might become frustrating. You might either drop this unit or, you know, you'll get by with the unit. You might like the unit, but you might just be like, she isn't there yet until I get her other stuff. I think that's more of a fair accurate. Look, all I'm saying is Chixia's better be an A. Girl is so good. Only downside is her lack of AoE. You know what? Just for you, Azalea, I will put Chixia in bulletproof. Chixia will be my Amber. Just for you, all right? Split the heavens. What's up, Royal? How you doing? Anyone who's in the hot librarian from onset is F tier. That's crazy. My man loves his Lisa so much. Kachona, Kachona's tough for me, man. I'm biased towards Kachona. Like, when Kachona dropped, I was like, dude, this girl is cracked. She's way too good at this game. Like, what? Like, I was using Kachona, believe it or not, in the open world to go and farm and shit like that. And then bosses, like, my Kachona, her talent levels aren't even maxed out. And she does so much damage even without max talents, right? Um, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I gotta be like honest with myself. I'm trying not to be as biased right now. I'm really trying not to be biased. I don't know if I really want to give her the S tier because I feel like S tier is really like It's really hard to get S tier, right? She's Her buff with Cardathia is insane. It's so good. There's a lot of A tier units. Holy. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I think that's a good thing on Kurogames' part. I'm going to be biased and throw an A. I'm going to throw an A. Because she's so strong. Like, she's a really strong unit. But I do have her weapon, for one. Um, I do think she does good damage, for two. She does have good grouping, for three. Her concerto is pretty easy to build, so that's four. Four reasons right there. And her ultimate, I think her ultimate does okay off-field damage. I've even seen people do like a Gion team comp with her. With Yuno being around the corner, I am curious how Yuno synergy might work with Kachona, because Kachona shields herself, and it's only going to be one shield, so we'll see how it goes, right? For like that'll be a weird ass team comp, but it is a team comp I wouldn't be opposed to trying out, like a Kachona Yuno team. People might say that's stupid and weird, but like I'm not opposed to trying it out for the funsies. But I'm gonna leave her in A tier. I think that's I don't know that it just feels fair to me. Like it feels right. Like I don't want to say S tier because I don't think you're gonna grab Kachona and be like I'm gonna go solo this content. I'm gonna go solo this boss with Kachona, right? And she isn't doing that much anything else, right? To really like stay in S tier. So I think we're gonna leave her in A. Cardathea S tier off. I would even say bulletproof, bro. I don't care. I'm throwing bulletproof. Fuck it. That's God tier. Cardathea is cracked. I don't care what anyone and their mama has to say about Cardathea. She isn't as bad as the unit. She's insane. If you're using the 4-4-1-1 setup, that's your problem. That's why your Cardathea feels like she sucks without everyone else. Throw in a 4-3-3-1-1, then come talk to me. It's gonna take a lot, but if you put that investment into her, bro, I promise she's cracked. She's worth it. She's worth it. I'm pulling her bulletproof. I don't ever see this girl's damage falling up to the point she sucks, okay? Like, she has the highest damage in the game. The highest damage in the game. Good AoE. Amazing AoE. Strong single boss target damage. Even if you're not hitting one target, you're hitting multiple targets. Crazy cracked, right? She can kind of buff herself. And if you start getting cons for her, even better. And she heals herself with her liberation after, like, technically damaging herself with the liberation. So she kind of can just sustain herself. So I don't know. She's bulletproof in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. You get a Cardathea on your account, and I'll be happy playing on it. Like, fuck it. Tell it to Frolova. Hate me if you want. I don't care. I'm bullying her and bulletproof. I don't give a fuck. I don't see this character ever being ass ever, right? This character, I think, is gonna just run a test of time for a long while, a really long while. Bulletproof. I don't care. Fight me, respectfully. Lupa, I'm gonna say bulletproof. Honestly, believe it or not, I'm gonna throw Lupa and bulletproof. And that's only because right now there's no fusion unit like Lupa inside the game that strips enemies of their fusion resistance and buff other fusion units. So as a support and slash sub DPS, I think Lupa sits in the bulletproof category. Even if you don't want to sit there and say she has a lot of teams right now, I think she will, like, as time goes on and we get more and more units, your account having a Lupa will just get better. I think that's really safe to say. Because who else has fusion resistance shred in this game? No one. And I think that's such a powerful thing to have. You're buffing the fusion damage of the next unit, and you're also just stripping the enemy of their fusion resistance. So you're just amplifying their damage even further, right? That's like such a massive boost that I think she's bulletproof. That'll be my argument for Lupa. And her damage isn't like abysmal. It's good damage. It's good for what she does. So we'll leave her up here in bulletproof. For Lova, should I do it to him, chat? I'm gonna do it to him. She's just queen. She's waifu, bro. She's waifu. I'm not saying anything else. No, I'm joking. Now, the reason why I throw Fulova up here in bulletproof is only because, one, Fulova's damage is absolutely insane. Yeah, she's new, so maybe that might talk about it. But again, everyone rates her off of Whimpering Waves. So if you're talking about Whimpering Waves, she's definitely the best Whimpering Waste unit. Ignoring Whimpering Waste, though, again, because I just like to mention it for people who just love hearing Whimpering Waste. She's solid there, so that's bulletproof for your account. On top of that, in terms of boss mechanics, I think she slaughters bosses as well. Her time stop OP, her AoE OP, open world farming OP. Um, she does a heavy attack damage buff. So with the newer units coming out soon, if the rumors are true, which for the most part I also believe them as well, with how we're getting more heavy attack scalers, she works great. Um, and I'm even so bold to sit there and say you can slot her into like most teams. Like I would even slot her with the Gion team, right? Assuming your Morphe isn't cracked or built, but say you have a super cracked out for Lova, you can even throw it with Gion and have Gion and her doing coordinated, well, not coordinated attacks, but technically coordinating attacks together, right? Which is why I call it the melt team, just because even though her amplification isn't as high as like a Morphe for a hyper carry Gion or a hyper carry Augusta, it's like her off-field damage with her ultimate is so strong that it just melt bosses HP together. And that's why I call it like a melt team. It's just I'm there for the damage, baby. That's what I'm there for. She's a great unit to just have there, and she just works with so many different teams that I think she's bulletproof. Amber has more use than Ling Yang. Yeah, fuck Ling Yang. You put Ling Yang at Poopy knowing well and good. Uh, he the Chi-Chi of Wuwa. He is the Chi-Chi of Wuwa, man. I this character needs a buff. Seriously, he seriously needs some love. Wholeheartedly. I want to see a Ling Yang main come in here and just like solo all content. Do all content. Go ahead. Prove me wrong. Do it with like high timing too. I don't want you to be like 5 seconds remaining type shit. I want you to do that effortlessly, like 40-second clears type shit with Ling Yang or something. And then we'll talk. All right, Augusta. I think Augusta is also safe to say in bulletproof. And the reason why I'm gonna throw Augusta in bulletproof, not because she's currently on banner, but because one of the same reasons that for Falova, right? Like, one, Augusta is definitely hands down the best Electro DPS unit in the game. As of right now, she is the best DPS Electro unit. So if you're looking for a team, like a strong DPS unit to just hold on to, she's solid. Also, she does do good AoE, wide sweeping attacks. She's good for open world farming. She's good for boss killing. She's good in Whimpering. They did fix the issue with her in Whimpering Waste where she you couldn't really use the ult. I didn't have an issue clearing her at all in Whimpering Waste. I didn't even actually need the ult either. Like I could just heavy attack all throughout. Like legit just heavy attack and just wipe waves. So there's that in Whimpering. But another thing about Augusta that I think gets overshadowed when people don't really talk about her is that she provides a generic damage buff to the next resonator, right? So this kind of makes her more flexible with any team because it's not a specific damage buff. It's not something like only buff electro units, right? So if you want to run her with characters like Augusta, they kind of bounce off each other because of that, right? Like Augusta's like Forlova's buffing heavy attack, Augusta's just buffing her overall damage, right? And it just works great with how it coordinates with each other. And if you don't want to do Augusta Forlova, you can do Augusta Yinlin, you can do Augusta whoever. Like it doesn't matter. She will just buff that next unit in line, even your support if you want to do that. So with like Yuno being around the corner, you can look at characters like Yuno, for instance, and say like, okay, yeah, I can buff them. So for me, I think Augusta sits in bulletproof. Solid kit, time stop, does all of the content with ease, absolute ease. And she provides buffs too. So I think that's just great for her. Yuno's not out yet, so we're gonna skip Yuno for here, and I'll talk more about Yuno later and my thoughts on Yuno. Um, S3, so don't speak, bro. Yeah, my Augusta is S3, but I also did it. I did the content with S0 Augusta, and I played on other people's accounts, such as Zach and Nox, and they didn't have S3 either. So I'm just saying, I can speak freely even with cons. I do my content before I con my characters, and then I con my characters just for the sake of fun, right? So I can speak from a non-con standpoint. I don't just con the character and then go into the content, right? I wait, do the content first, then I con the characters. Just saying. So suck it, nerd. Anyways, Donjin, I think, dude, the Donjin mains are probably gonna like stab me to death. They're gonna be like, "Fuck you, Render. Like, fuck's wrong with you?" I'm gonna say Donjin is kind of like Donjin's so weird to me. Like, she kind of fell off. Like, I don't think she's clearing all content. Like, I think she can. I think you can take Donjin and like, ToA and everything like that. Sure, you know, if you're like crazy cracked at the game, sure. But this is like casual players we're talking about here. I'm throwing her in C tier. I think Donjin, you'll have fun with in the beginning on your account. You'll be like, oh my god, she's cracked in the beginning. You'll get like some of your hologram stars and stuff like that, but not all of them. And then after that, you'll be like, okay, I need a different unit, like now, right? So I'm gonna throw her in C tier, thinking from like a uh a regular player perspective, not the super crackheads out there. Okay, for those Donjin mains out there, I'm gonna say bulletproof just for you. Okay, but for non-Donjin mains and all that stuff like that, just someone who just has her an account, wants to build her, ignoring all of the Donjin main hype, I'll say C tier. She's B on a good day. I'll say B if on a skill level, based on your skill level as a player. If you're crazy, I'm saying crazy. If you're decent at the game, I'll say B tier on a good day, right? But I'll say C for just like a casual that picks the game up, wants to go and slap some stuff up for a bit, and they mess up quite a few times. I'll say she's C tier, man. You probably gonna play her for a little while and be like, all right, I'm dropping her. Alto mains are kind of like Donjin mains, man. But I'm gonna throw Alto kind of like in just D tier, man. I'll be honest. Maybe I'm just weird about that. I just don't see Alto enough to really care about him. I don't really think his damage was anything noteworthy from what I remember. Like when the game first came out, yeah, he Alto was pretty good. But where we stand now, I don't think Alto really went up there. I could be wrong. Maybe someone might correct me. I'm just gonna throw him in D tier. It's just my opinion. Why is Calculator at C tier? I threw Calculator at C tier because of thinking from a casual standard, like the the average player. My voice keeps cracking. I don't know what's going on with my voice tonight, bro. I'll be honest. Um, I think Calcharo is his kit is too clunky. Like it's too easy to interrupt and not maximize his damage. And if you don't have like Gion signature, if you don't have like Lupa signature, or like any of those limited 5-star weapons that are really good for him, I feel like it's really hard to get damage off. And you know, I have my Cal Charles almost S6, granted, but we just got done watching another Calcharo who had pretty good stats on his Calcharo, who is S6 Calcharo, and he was clearing content recently, but the trick was he had an S2 shorekeeper. And even with the damage buff that an S6 Calcharo was getting from an S2 shorekeeper, it was like he killed the boss, yeah, but it's like you could really see that it wasn't as impressive as what these newer units are doing casually, right? Like he had to really push for that. That's a lot of damage amps, and that's something that like not a lot of people are gonna have access to, right? Not a lot of people are gonna have an S6 Calcharo today. Not a lot of people are gonna have an S2 shorekeeper, right? So all of that investment just to get that little of a result to like be somewhere on par with like these characters at their base state, I think it's safe to say he's going to be a C tier unit, even regardless. So that's why I threw him in C tier. I don't really think Calcharo is. I don't think he's horrible, but that's a lot to sit there and ask for a unit, and especially from like a casual F2P. Alto with Cardi, I'm not throwing an Alto with any Cardathea teams at all. Never. I'm the only character I think that should ever get paired with Cardathea as a 4-star is just Sanawa. For the basic attack damage bonus, because that's what Cardathea scales off of, is the basic attack damage amp, and then the her quick concerto swaps too. So, and her Moonlit Clouds. Well, Moonlit Clouds actually no, never mind. Moonlit Clouds is false because Moonlit Clouds doesn't matter. You could just throw You could throw Sano on like a sub DPS set because Moonlit Clouds isn't gonna buff Cardathea, and you'll be fine. Welcome back, Mimikyu. Um, Chixia, for Azalea, we're gonna throw in bulletproof. Don't ask questions. All right, don't ask questions. No, I'm joking. Realistically, though, I say Chixia is probably I've seen Chixia pop off. In fact, I actually built my Chixia. She's not fully built yet, but I was building her, and I was having fun with Chixia. So I'm gonna throw Chixia in B tier. Realistically, like if she's on your account, you're not gonna be mad. You can probably make her work. You can have fun doing holograms. In fact, Chixia doing holograms is kind of impressive. But in terms of like whimpering waste and stuff like that, yeah, no, she's not gonna really do her whimpering. She's not gonna really do like you could do ToA and you can do holograms. I would say with Chixia. Um, but I don't think she goes anywhere else because the fact she is missing like a major component in the game mode, which is whimpering. Um, and then she's also missing out on open world farming. Open world farming takes a little while, but Chixia is fun. She's fun, and if I remember correctly, I think she does provide some buffs for your teams, and she can slot into other teams. She is a 4-star unit, so she's flexible in that sense of being able to work in the future. Like if you wanted to do like a Lupa Chixia team just for the fun of it, you can do that, right? Um, so I'm gonna leave her in B tier, but for the sake of Azalea, we'll say bulletproof, and we'll leave it there. If you skip the video and you got here and you're wondering why the hell she's bulletproof, that's on you. That's on you. Okay, Tao Chi. Tao Chi's like Beto from Genshin Impact. She's like Beto. But I'm gonna say B. Like I really don't see a lot of like Tao Chi is good and she does work on those free to play teams that really need a shielder and stuff like that or another good support unit, and she does provide decent amplification buffs. So I think I think her cons suck though. I think all of her cons are like very selfish cons. Because I think all they do is amplify her and she's already kind of like whatever. But she is useful though. So I want to say she's around B, right? Does anyone else agree with that? What's up, TK? How you doing, man? Does anyone agree or disagree with that statement? You think I'm tripping on putting her B or should I put her C? I should probably put her C with these guys, right? Same reason for yeah, I probably say C tier. I think B tier is yeah. I can't put her in the same class as Ani. That's kind of overkill. I can't put her in the same as Ani. That's kind of fucked up. I'm gonna say C tier. I just don't agree with her being on the same level as Zani. No. But the only reason why Zani's down here is just because of the fact that Zani just requires so much more. And then based on player understanding, Zani can seem kind of complicated, right? That's that's why Zani's again in B, just to emphasize that for anyone who's curious why she's in B tier. But in my opinion, I'm gonna throw Shorty up in bulletproof because I love Zani. I'm cracked like that. Like I love Zani, but I'm gonna leave Zani in B. Anyways, Mortefi. Mortefi definitely gained a lot of value recently. I think Mortefi is solid, and as time goes on, as we're getting more heavy attackers, I am keen to say Mortefi's S tier. Honestly, I think he's probably one of the few 4-stars I would leave in S rank. Mortefi, you can throw on Static Mist. That's good damage, good concerto, good lib. Keeps his ult up at all times. Gives him all of his buffs. Yeah, I think Mortefi's S tier. I think it's safe to say that. And with Augusta also being released, it just also increased his value as a character because now it's not like he's just with Gion. And with the other future units also potentially being heavy attackers, he's kind of also filling that slot for like And again, he does have good damage. And because he can sit on Moonlit Clouds, you can even throw on Amperine if you really wanted to, right? If you want to just be like full blown selfish and say, screw it. He has enough damage. I want to put him in Amperine and make him do even more damage. You can do that, but I think Mortefi's better on Moonlit Clouds personally because of how high his buffs really are. Like he does a good buff for the team. So I'm gonna say S tier for Mortefi. I think that's really safe for him now. If you have this unit and you got him S6, definitely build him. Even if he's not S6, just build him. It's not bad. He's pretty easy. I think S tier is fine for Mortefi. You'll do all the content. Uh Yan Wu. Yeah, buddy. Dog shit. We're gonna throw him right in there. Yep, you suck, buddy. I love your cool, fancy animations. I like that little Michael Jackson hat you got going on there. You look like a smooth criminal, but you play like shit. Let's just say you play like shit. His damage just sucks. His damage actually sucks, but I'm gonna throw him in D tier because Jinshi. That's it. He just sits in D tier because Jinshi. If it was for Jinshi, bro, he's chilling right here in poopy tier. D tier. You can use Yan Wu, I would say, with Augusta if you really wanted to, because of the fact that he does help her not get interrupted so often. So if you're really having a hard time constantly being interrupted with Augusta, you can do the Yan Wu. But he isn't buffing Augusta and he isn't applying anything else. I would say just work on getting good at your dodges and use Mortifi. But if you were that desperate, then yeah, you could do it. He's only going to keep gaining value. Feels like everyone except him on is heavy. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Mimikyu, and that's why I think he sits in S tier. I want to say bulletproof for Mortifi because of that very reason that he's only going to keep gaining value as more and more units come out and stuff. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. We're going to say Mortifi's bulletproof. I don't care. I think Mortifi stays in bulletproof because of the fact that he is going to keep gaining value. And even after Septimon, there are going to be more units that come out that scale and heavy attack damage. Let's be real. So with that being said, it's like, you know, you're always going to find a reason to slot him into your team or on your account. There's always going to be room for him. And again, he gets access to Static Mist as well as at S6. I think he also provides like another 20% attack increase. So yeah, I think it's safe to say Mortifi stays up here. And I don't even care for Mortifi's damage. He's kind of like a shorekeeper to me in that sense. Like, I don't care if he's doing no damage. His buff is just that good. So I'm going to throw him up here. Bulletproof. That's fair. Baiji. Baiji's B tier for me. She's kind of like a whatever unit. I wouldn't say she's bulletproof because once you get other units, you kind of just like, if you got other support units on your team, people instantly replace her, right? Like, Baiji's only being utilized on your account if you literally have nothing on your account. She's like the last resort healer people go to. That's why I won't put her in S tier. I won't put her in bulletproof or anything like that. She's your last resort support. But she's not bad. She's definitely good. She's just your last resort. And other than that, she's not really doing anything else in these categories to really like justify anything else. She's just like that last resort option. Sanwa, in my opinion, is good. I'll say Sanwa's A tier. A to S tier. S tier if you actually build her around her damage. A tier if you're just using her for her quick swap concerto buffs, right? That's it. She's flexible like all these teams. You can literally use Sanwa just to give your team that generic attack increase, damage amp, and then the basic attack damage bonuses. She finds herself working well with characters like Sanwa, Carnithia, and stuff like that. Even Carlotta because the Glacio damage buff. So I think she's safe here. She's safe here at A tier. But if you do build her, if you have her built for her damage and you're making like a sub DPS, I would say because of her buffing capabilities as well as her quick swap abilities and how well her damage can be when you do get her up there, I would say she's probably sitting around S tier because she's doing in like quick successions, kind of like a Cheng-Li, right? So, but we'll say A tier. I'm gonna let you guys in chat decide where you want to put Yang Yang. Cause like I never actually built Yang Yang and I didn't spend time with Yang Yang yet. I know Yang Yang is like the battery of the game. She builds enough lip energy or resonance energy for other units so she can help them out with their energy regen. But I never actually built Yang Yang, right? And I used Yang Yang to solo like one side of the tower a little bit, but that was only like briefly, right? So I don't have a full opinion on her. What's up, Crimson? How you doing? Should we put Yang Yang like not S tier? Holy. I don't know, man. Her traction's really good. And again, like she is like a little battery. I don't think her damage is bad, right? From what I remember, her damage. We'll just say B tier. We'll say B tier on the safe side. I'll let everyone else decide that. I think if you did decide to build your Yang Yang, you won't hate yourself. I think you'll be like, okay, yeah, Yang Yang's still good, right? Because I use Yang Yang in tower, and my Yang Yang is not built. She's not even leveled like that. I just used her very briefly just to kill some shit, to get like the first couple of floors out the way before I got my account fully solidified. So, and I used her on some other people's accounts too when I was doing their towers, and I think she does it. But again, no one's ever had her. I never played with a fully built Yang Yang to really justify it, but she has her purpose for sure. So I'm gonna throw her in B tier because of that. She has purpose and she can be used inside things like Whimpering because of the fact she does have traction AOE. Um, you can use her in like the boss fights, right? In holograms, perfectly fine. Um, and I did, like I said, I used her in ToA. So I'll throw her up there, but I just don't know how much of investment to speak further on her. So we'll say B tier if you decide to play on her. You're not gonna hate it. You'll probably enjoy it. But if you have other units, you probably won't care for it. That's all I'm saying. B or C. Okay. I see. I like that. I think that's fair. Which one are you leaning more towards, MimiQ? Are you leaning more towards C or more towards B? Because I think I'm fine with either or. I have no real complaints here. I think B, because I would say she gets more value in other game modes specifically than just Danjin and Tao Chi. And because she works like a battery, and I think she does provide an attack buff, she's providing more than what these units are, if that makes sense. But in terms of power, I would probably say she's almost around the same. But you're not placing them in order. Yeah, I'm not placing them in any kind of order. I'm just placing them based off of like just category. I'll let everyone else decide where they want to place them. We're just going legit just in order of everything listed here. Yoo-hoo? Dude. Honestly, extreme bias because who the hell uses Yoo-hoo? Right? Like I I don't want to hate Yoo-hoo because I really wanted this character when they first announced her. I was like, finally a new unit, and then she came out. But then it was like I had no team to ever put her on. Like not a single one. And even to this day, right? I see her on no teams. Not a single team. So it's like, is she that bad, bro? Is she bad or is just everyone sleeping on her? Because I have no purpose for this character. I'll be honest. I never could find a purpose for this unit. So I never built this unit. I just said, screw it, I'm going to save my materials and just left her alone. Like, she's kind of like in that Ling Yang boat. But she's so fun to use. I like the idea of like popping her ultimate and being able to like Gamba or whatever, or switch between whatever it was. I forgot. It's been a long time since I played her, but I thought her ultimate was pretty interesting. And she has like the little Sonic run, so I was like, hell yeah, yoo-hoo, give me that character. But yeah, no, I'm gonna just leave her in Poopy because again, I don't see anyone really talk about her. Lumi, I think Lumi's safe to say in B because Lumi is a strong basic. She has high basic attack damage for herself, and she provides resident skill damage bonus. So she's good for characters like Jinshi, good for characters like Carlotta. Um, she's pretty all right, and she's fast. You can use her in pretty much almost all the other categories. In terms of Whimpering Waste, though, I don't really think she's up there. So that's why she's gonna sit in B. So yeah, I'll say B tier. You'll definitely find purpose for her. If you have her on your account, I don't think you're gonna be mad, upset, disappointed, or anything like that. You're gonna be like, hell yeah, I got a Lumi. I can use her to substitute for something else if you are really missing like that extra version of like a damage amp for a character, right? Like if you needed someone who needs resident skill like Carlotta or something like that, you could use Lumi. We already rated all the rovers, so all that's left now is just Yuno. And Yuno's interesting to me because it's too soon. It's way too soon to judge Yuno. When I first saw Yuno's kit, I thought Yuno was gonna be a bulletproof character. I thought she was gonna be our Shorekeeper 3.0. But after reading her talents and reading how her skill actually works, as well as her con, it's really hard to say where Yuno goes because she's so niche, believe it or not. Like Yuno has Yuno is only good for herself, right? She's good for herself in Augusta, I should say. Correction. Good for herself in Augusta. Every other unit won't be able to maximize her blessing of the Wayne Light or Wan Light, however you pronounce it, because they need 10 stacks, and every other unit only applies one shield to themselves. Whereas Yuno and Augusta are the only characters as of right now currently in the game that can apply multiple shields to themselves. So that's my issue with thinking about Yuno. It's like only time will tell when it comes to getting her other places. But she does have healing, so the healing category would be nice. She also provides stamina regen, from my understanding, so that's also kind of nice for characters who are constantly spamming. So maybe, but it's like I just don't want to lie to ourselves and throw that up there, especially when you have characters like Verena and Shorekeeper that you can most likely just replace her with anyways, right? Um, so, and I don't want to throw an S tier because it's only a matter of time. We have to see how our damage works. So for now, I'm just gonna throw an A tier for now, just to be on a safe side from a hypothetical standpoint. Like hypothetically speaking, we'll say A tier because I imagine she's gonna have at least, at the very least, decent damage to excellent damage, um, with amazing buffing capabilities for characters like Augusta and herself. But I just we just gotta wait. I can't accurately rate her. Um, Maybe we might say S tier, but we'll say A tier because I don't think she's gonna be ass. I think she's still gonna be good. Um, yeah, I think this is my tier list. I don't know if anyone has any objections or complaints, but this looks so far pretty all right. We got the S tiers here. Characters that are solid. These characters right here, I think, will transcend the test of time. I think Carlotta is good, but I think Carlotta's starting to fall down as of right now. I know some people were talking about they were struggling a little bit with in one of the updates they were struggling a little bit with Carlotta's damage, but now we seem good again. So we'll see. Maybe she might fall off. Maybe she might still keep riding. She might actually be a bulletproof unit. But I think S tier. She can pretty much clear everything perfectly fine. I think you'll enjoy her. Um, and yeah, I think that's fair. That was a very long tier list explanation, but I'm glad we got there.